Greetings, mortals, and welcome to a special episode of TheReycast, Episode X. Okay, it's not that deep. Though I probably should have saved X4 for this episode, because pun, but instead we're going to talk a little bit about my experience with the Fallout series as a whole. And I am unsure if I'll have too much to talk about this or too little. We'll find out. I have extensive notes here that I will be checking to keep things on track as per usual. Because I found in the previous episodes, if you watched them, that the ones that I didn't write notes for, oh my golly, unlistenable sometimes, depending. Some of them are really good, like the Star Fox Assault one. I'll always talk about that one. Anyway, that one was pretty good. But yeah, let's talk about Fallout this time. And to start with talking about Fallout, let's talk about Oblivion, which isn't Fallout. It's actually the Elder Scrolls series. But if you know Bethesda, which you likely do if you're listening to this, Oblivion was my personal favorite for the longest time. I didn't even own the game. I played it at a friend's house. I didn't even have an Xbox 360 at the time. But I might talk about that a bit more when we talk about the Elder Scrolls series and possibly a different Raycast. But the reason I'm bringing up Oblivion is because it was my first kind of encounter or learning of Fallout 3 specifically. Because I was reading up on the forums, I was researching, I don't know, lore or something for Oblivion. And then someone was like making crossover ties with Fallout, and I'm like, why are they comparing this to another game? Like, what's going on here? And then I read something I apparently won't forget because I have it in quotes here too. And I read, Fallout is just Oblivion with guns. So I was like, I like guns. So I eventually, when I was able, I got Fallout 3 a long time after this, actually, because then I had my own Xbox 360 finally, which I saved money up for, and then I obviously got Oblivion first. And then eventually I got Fallout 3. And then I instantly understood what they meant by Fallout. It's just Oblivion with guns. I wasn't really paying attention to companies during my Xbox 360 days. I was just like, ooh, game fun. Me play game. Me play game good? Question mark. Me kill other guy. Me teabag. That was mostly what I was playing games for. But I did really like story. That kind of like permeated throughout all of my childhood as well. It wasn't all just teabags and nade throwing, though I did have a severe COD phase as well during the Modern Warfare 2 and all that. But anyway, rabbit trails. Fallout 3, it was basically like I was playing Oblivion all over again. Except obviously very different. You were in a post-apocalyptic setting. There were guns instead of swords. The way you would move between first and third person, back and forth. I mean, that's the proper way I like to play. I know a lot of people are like hardcore first-person viewers or third-person viewers, which God bless those hardcore third-person viewers. Sometimes I try to do it. Sometimes. But I don't think the game is made for that. Especially in the newer games like Fallout 4 and stuff. Like, the reticle doesn't line up exactly in third person. Or maybe I've broken mine with mods. I'm not sure. That could be possible. Maybe it's okay in vanilla. I haven't played vanilla in a while. But I do still believe the proper way to play a Bethesda game, at least like Oblivion and Fallout, Skyrim, all that, is to switch between first and third person. You'd use third person when you're walking around, you know, so you can take in your surroundings and also see if something's you know, running in from behind you, gonna scratch your butt. I would like to see that. I would like to see that. So I go third person. However, when I go inside a shed or something, like, especially if you're a player like me who wears power armor all the time, um, yeah, it's hard to see sometimes. So first person is essential, the gameplay loop, in my opinion. Um, Even sometimes for combat, like I do like fighting over the shoulder. If I have a good hipfire weapon. Um, but overall, I like to switch, depending on how much precision I'm gonna need. So I love that. Same with the Elder Scrolls series. Like I switch in and out. Um, that is the proper way. But yeah, the game felt the same. Like sneaking around, felt very similar to the Elder Scrolls, unlocking doors. Actually, what was it in Fallout 3? It wasn't the, I know Skyrim and Fallout 4 and beyond have the same lockpicking system, but I'm trying to remember what it was. I remember Oblivion's really well. Oblivion's was interesting. It was like a side view, and you had to like, yeah, flick up the pins and then kind of time it until they were fully up, and then you would click, and it was really hard. It actually had some skill involved and also some kind of like random chance. Yeah, I liked Oblivion's, but I'm trying to remember what Fallout's was, or Fallout 3 was. Maybe it was also something similar. I can't remember, actually. That's weird. Anyway, I have it written down that unlocking doors felt similar. Maybe I was thinking about Fallout 4 and Skyrim when I wrote that down. But yes, there were a lot of guns. There were a lot of different guns. I love trying them all out. All the different kinds of guns. It was kind of like in Elder Scrolls when you would get like a new enchanted sword. You're like, ooh, what's this do? Or a staff. In Skyrim, like, you know, or the Wabbajack. Actually, they were in Oblivion too. Staves. Seeing their different effects and magic and stuff like that. But the same thing with the guns. It's like they ranged in all sorts of different creative ways. Like Junk Jet is an easy example where you put junk into the jet and then it shoots it at people at lethal velocity. A little bit of a silly gun. I don't personally run it. They're like the Fat Man, like that's a classic portable mini nuke launcher. That one's awesome. You got a lot of different kinds of guns, and it's just like in Oblivion where like you could go heavy weapons, you could go tiny dagger, you even had short swords and stuff. Like you could be a pistol guy if you wanted to be pistols, you know, you could be big iron on his hip, you know. The sky was the limit. And it was amazing because I felt like I missed out on it for the longest time because like I said, I got it way late. I heard about it on the forums, and I was like, what do you mean, you know, Oblivion with guns? And then this whole time, and then I found out it was the same company, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the same people made this? And then I was just blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, this is basically like Oblivion Part 2. And I fell in love. This was before the Skyrim rage. The Skyrim hype. It was a good time to be alive back then. Playing my Oblivions and my Fallout 3s. I was bewildered and by all the familiar yet strange areas in the Fallout universe as well. It was interesting to see like the desolate ruin of my own capital, because I guess I was edgy. However, despite my edginess, I was like, oh, cool, destruction, ha ha ha, the White House is all blown up. But actually, it wasn't like that because of the somber and emotional tone of the game. Didn't give me time to be edgy. I was just like, oh, this is actually really depressing. as it actually is and should be. because a lot of things would go wrong actually if society collapsed via the apocalypse. I don't think I need to tell anyone that. I think that's quite obvious, but no, yeah, it was just probably due to my age. I was just like, haha, cool guns, haha, cool bombs. And then this was the game that kind of like got me to think about them. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. This is what they're used for. This is what they've done. Why again? Like, I always, Power Rangers, I would always think, superheroes and all these things are like, oh, you don't use violence unless you absolutely need to. And I was like, what warranted an absolute need for this? Total world devastation. What was the absolute need? And this game helped me kind of realize that. So I didn't really have enough, edginess or coolness. And then I met the Brotherhood. Just kidding. Although Sarah Lyons and Elder Lyons, they were definitely good people. I think I underappreciated the Brotherhood in Fallout 3. I think I, at the time, went off and on some of the rabbit trail, as I'm prone to do. I don't even know what build I went back then. I probably didn't go any build. I probably just like picked up guns, and I probably just survival build. Do whatever worked build. Because I didn't know anything about it at the time, really, or know about builds. Yeah, that's probably fair. Now I'm all about the builds because I play Fallout and Elder Scrolls too much. Now I'm a professional. I play on Legendary in Skyrim, and I play on Survival in Fallout 4. So I'd like to think I'm a bit more hardcore. Though I do die a lot, but now I have the excuse that I'm on hard difficulty, so that's why I die. But yeah, I did go back to Fallout 3 and do a Brotherhood run, and it was a lot of fun. I think the characters are a lot more fleshed out than in the newer games, though Paladin Dance has a great story. I do like Paladin Dance. It made me conflicted. It's a great story between like what is right and what is duty. And also a bunch of smoke and mirrors too. Like you could easily have made the wrong decision if one thing was one way. It's really I'm trying to avoid spoilers for actually a pretty old game now. But I do like Paladin Dance's story. Though, other than Paladin Dance, like Scribe Halen, not much there. Reese is just forever an asshole in Fallout 4. And he's just like, I don't like you, and then you become basically like the Sentinel. And he's like, I still don't like you. It's like, bruh. I destroyed our enemies to a pulp, single-handedly. And you still think I gotta prove myself? I think that's just a lack of writing for that character, and that's kind of my point, is that there weren't much writing there. There wasn't much writing being put into those characters, which is a shame, I think. Probably because Fallout 4 used a voice actor for the main character, which I personally liked. However, I do realize the constraints that it put. We probably would have had a lot more of Reese, maybe, I don't know. This is kind of guessing if we had a silent protagonist, which they wanted to do for Starfield. They were talking about that all the time. Oh, we have a silent protagonist. Oh, it's gonna be fun. Actually, looking back on it, I think they went with the silent protagonist because they didn't want to go the extra mile like they did with Fallout 4. Honestly, because I played Starfield. I paid $100 for it. I regret that, but yeah, I wanted to get my money's worth, is my point, and I played a lot of it, and I tried to like it. And I, as almost a diehard Bethesda fan, could not get into it. I mean, actually, the first episode in this series, in the TheReycast, is the Starfield rant. I started this podcast because I needed to vent about Starfield. It's incredible. No, it's really funny. But yeah, Starfield's bad. And I think the voice protagonist is actually a good idea. I don't know why it would be so much work though. I mean, I get the physical work, like the labor involved. I understand that. But like, why can't you be more efficient? You don't like get everyone in the studio to do a voice, which Bethesda's known for, like in Oblivion in early Fallout. There were like 2 or 3 voice actors for everyone in the entire game. So I get that that's their kind of like their point, and actually that was one of the selling points to Fallout 4, I believe, is that they hired more than 2 or 3 voice actors, which is really funny. But yeah, it couldn't be that hard to go onto like Fiverr, find the top-rated people in voice acting, and ask them to do a voice for a character, and then I guess that would be money. But when you're Bethesda, right? I gave you $100 for a shitty game, like, and I'm sure a lot of other people did too. You can definitely afford this, I feel like. I don't know financing. I'm just a critic on the internet. But it's it boggles my mind that they can't just like get a bunch of people to voice the lines and then send them in, and then they just use that and then pay them. You know? That doesn't seem too hard, but maybe it is really hard. I'm not in that business world, so maybe there are complications in that. Anyway. Yeah, definitely underappreciated Sarah Lyons and Elder Lyons, when I was playing originally, but going back through it, it was definitely a lot of fun. Where are we now? We, Fallout New Vegas. I didn't play it. Oops. I know everyone listening was probably like, "Oh, when's he gonna talk about Fallout New Vegas? When is he gonna talk about New Vegas? Huh? When is he gonna talk about my favorite one?" I haven't played it. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people like Fallout New Vegas and often describe it as the best Fallout out there. But it almost feels like what Fallout 76 is to Fallout 4 to me. It's just like a DLC. Except minus the multiplayer, obviously, but it's just more of the same thing, but it has more of it. So I don't know. I know I wasn't super into it because although I loved the DLC for Oblivion, Shivering Isles and stuff, I got that. I don't know why I didn't feel like it was necessary for Fallout 3 to have a DLC. I guess because of the ending. Trying to avoid spoilers, but Fallout 3 ends kind of like on like a point. Like it ends. Like there is no room for continuation. So I was always just like, well, I guess it can't continue. So what is it? But of course, you know, I was wrong. New Vegas is a completely different character. And stuff like that. So I avoided it in my past and never spent the moolah for it. But I would love to go back and play it, actually. Maybe I will do that at some point. On stream, possibly. I have been saving it for on stream. Otherwise, I probably would have played it in my off time by now. So it'll probably happen on stream at some point. If you don't already follow me on the Reynard Show over on Twitch, although most of you are probably coming from there, but hey, if you found the podcast first, power to you, my friend, power to you, and I appreciate you listening. And all the people who came from Twitch, I appreciate you guys listening. Anyway, Short little sidebar there. Short little appreciative sidebar. But yeah, I have to apologize because I haven't played Fallout New Vegas. Um, I mean, I played the beginning a few times. Like I got up to like I think like the powder gangers, I think they're called, like the dynamite bros. And I saved the town, the starting town, and I think that's almost as far as I've gotten. I might have gotten to the first town actually. But then that's around when I quit. For no particular reason. I think I was just more interested in other games at the time, unfortunately. I know it has a lot of cool stuff and makes Fallout 3 pale in comparison, but I unfortunately never played it. I didn't play it. What I did play, actually probably a lot, was Skyrim. Skyrim definitely left an impression on me. And after seeing Fallout 4 be teased, I was like, immediately in my head, because I of course have this quote in my mind about, you know, Oblivion, or Fallout being Oblivion with guns, I was like, it's Skyrim with guns. And honestly, I really like Fallout 4. Almost more than Skyrim, though I think I like this Elder Scrolls series overall more than words are hard. Fallout series. I don't know. I think Fallout 4 is better than Skyrim, but I like Elder Scrolls more than Fallout, is what I'm trying to say there. Jeez, should we cut that out? No, we need runtime. Keep it in. Keep it in. Though I do believe Skyrim has way better mods. Fallout 4 offers enough of the immersive kind of mods to really sell it. Though I haven't gone deep into modding Fallout 4 in a while. Some of the mods that I use on Fallout 4 are Lowered Gun, which I almost forgot was a mod. Because it just felt so natural after I got it. I think it was the first mod that I got. And I normally have this rule where I don't mod a game until after I've beaten it. But I think after my friend, when Fallout 4 first came out, told me about mods, he also had the Lowered Gun, so I would always look at his screen because I was living with him at the time. And he had the Lowered Gun, and it felt so much more natural, and I was like, okay, I need that. It's not gonna break the game if I lower my gun. But yeah, it basically makes it in first person, so, you know, you're not always pointing your gun forward like a maniac. And actually has you have your gun at rest, which is, I don't know why that's not in vanilla. Why is that not in vanilla? Why wasn't that just patched in? Anyway, a couple other mods I got are Vertibird from Pridwin, so you can call a Vertibird from the Pridwin and ride it out to a mission. Again, I'm very Brotherhood centric in my playthroughs. I got Personal Vertibird, which is a personal Vertibird. It actually is pretty cool because you can use a holotape to call it to your location and give it commands and things like that. So that one's really useful. Though it doesn't immediately come to you, you need to build it with a lot of different scrap, and it does take a while to build, so it feels pretty worth it after you do build it. And you could just use the Vertibird signal grenades anyway, in between that time. The Vertibird Jump, which is just a fun one, because that actually was supposed to be vanilla as well, apparently. I don't know why that isn't vanilla, but Vertibird Jump allows you to jump from your Vertibird, surprisingly enough. But this was actually something they put into the game. The devs put this into the game and then removed it. And didn't like fully remove it, they just kind of like switched it off, like turned off its capability in the files. And modders just like turned it back on. And now you can jump from your Vertibird, and it's a very interesting scenario situation where I don't know why something is cut. It works fine after you turn it back on. well, there was another mod like that. What was it? It was I think it was one with dog meat, where he was supposed to be originally created to be a companion that you would bring with other companions. So it'll be like a bonus companion, and you had like voice lines from all the different followers where they would actually comment on dog meat like getting injured or when you were healing him or stuff like that. But they removed it from the game. I guess that might have been due to balancing reasons. They might have thought he was too powerful. Maybe dog meat was too powerful. So they're like, maybe we should make him, you know, a solo follower, because he was pretty strong in Fallout 4. He could, you know, topple enemies and hold them for a little while. They wouldn't be in perfect headshot view, but they would actually be prone to headshots when they fell over and were stunned and were, you know, getting their ankles bitten off by dog meat, who's the bestest of boys. Everyone go pet your dog meat if you are playing Fallout 4 right now. Go give him a pet. Give him a pat on the head. Anyway. Some other mods are like zombie walkers and whispering hills. Now these I added for Halloween, but I kind of like having them on all the time. Give or take whispering hills, but zombie walkers, it basically just increases the amount of feral ghouls that are in the world. Because there is a severe lack of zombies in this apocalypse. I feel like the zombies kind of increase the feeling of a population, at the very least, having all the feral ghouls run around, because, you know, you're walking around a city. Now, granted, a lot of people have died, but there's also a lot of people that live in cities, or around cities, or people who would have gone to the cities after the bombs have fallen, etc., etc. So I feel like there should be a higher population. If not, I just like having a higher population in my, you know, apocalypse game. But Whispering Hills, oh my golly. By the name, you might have already caught that it's a Silent Hill mod, that just adds a bunch of Silent Hill monsters. Siren Head is terrifying. It creates like this, super dark horde mode where they summon a bunch of zombies and you know, mumblers and bobblehead nurses, and I haven't upgraded it, but apparently there's Pyramid Head now. So I might try and find the update for that for Halloween, and we might play that for Halloween again, because that's a lot of fun. It is genuinely scary playing Fallout 4 with horror mods. I have a few other horror mods that really sell it, like environmental ones and ENBs and stuff like that, but yeah, I can't remember all of them, honestly, and I didn't write them down, so unfortunate. Anyway, I have other mods such as CBBE and AFT. AFT is very nice for, you know, a squad feel, you know, because it allows you to have more companions. Because I like to play Fallout 4, like a, you know, like true Brotherhood night, you know, typically with a squad of 4, just so we can mow down all those icky abominations. Why did I write that in the notes? Anyway, I personally like the laser rifle. It leaves that clean ozone smell. Anyway, it depends on what build I want to go for that character, though. I'm often a mid-range kind of rifleman type character. I do like to have heavy weapons for those big creatures, the behemoths. Giant super mutants, the Mirelurk queens as well are just huge and kind of need a good minigun to deal with, you know, sometimes. Also, the heavy weapons guy is excellent at taking care of those zombies that I mentioned earlier that I have increased with a mod. So when there's a big horde of zombies coming our way, he can just flatten all of them, and it's very satisfying to watch. But then I also have a sniper for long-range assassinations for specific high-value targets. Normally like a raider leader, any chance that I have that's like normally outside and I can get a good vantage point or have a good vantage point on something, I will order the sniper to try and take them out. Now, granted, the snipers aren't the best at this, actually. When you command them to try and kill a target, they will start attacking it, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna hit it. Which, I kind of wish it worked similarly or had a functionality. Maybe there's a mod for this, maybe not. Kind of like Ghost Recon Wildlands, or I guess any like Ghost Recon, or any of those games that let you lock on to an enemy and you have teammates that also take out that enemy. Like Assassin's Creed Brotherhood is another good one to look at, because it's the one where you can order another assassin to just like come out of nowhere, like a bale of hay, and just like stab a guy and then and then run away. I love that stuff. So it would be cool if Fallout had like here, focus target, now attack, and then he like does a headshot or something like that. And if his damage and critical and special is all high, it should do a insta-kill. It should be stat specific. I do think stats should be involved for followers. But I do wish it was a little bit better. But I do like having a sniper for those long range ones, because sometimes you'll just see the heavy weapons guy expending all his rounds at a guy on a bridge who's like far away, who's sniping at us. So it's nice to have a sniper who can actually tag him sometimes, if not me. In the end, it ends up being me, but that's besides the point. And as a fourth member, I'm including myself in this team, is a medic. I wonder now if there's a mod that you can make other characters a medic. I don't think you can do that with AFT. Which is a follower mod. I can't remember, though. I think the options that it has are just like the combat options, like whether you want him to play as a sniper, play him as a bruiser, like melee only, assault rifles, like kind of customize them that way. But I don't think there's a way to make them a medic. However, there's a way around that, because Curie, who is a great follower in Fallout 4, by the way, you get her in Vault 88? I think it's Vault 88? Anyway, it's west of Diamond City, so you can find it pretty easily if you're looking for it yourself. However, Curie is a great follower. She dispenses med packs for you, so I kind of like dress her up as a scribe medic and put her on the team. So we kind of have that, that we have a scribe on board, a science-y doctor type that is in charge of the technology and stuff, because we're Brotherhood, That's typically how I like to play Fallout 4 nowadays. And I think in Fallout 3 there is like a cool squad, like I mentioned earlier. There's like a good like squad writing, and they almost followed the same exact thing that I did in Fallout 4. There was a heavy weapons guy. I think there was a sniper person. I'm not sure on the medic. Actually, I kind of forget, but each person was like unique. I gotta play Fallout 3 again. That was a lot of fun when I did that. But I can't remember. So I feel like if I can't remember, I should probably play it again, right? Maybe one day. Maybe one day. Now it's been years later. Actually, when did Fallout 4 come out? Release date 2015. Okay. Dang. Dang, I think 2016 was No Man's Sky. Dang, things have been time has been flying, guys. Also, when did Fallout 76 come out? 2018. Okay, yeah, it has been years later. I haven't played 76 for the longest time, definitely not at release, but now Liz has gotten me into it. So I was a little reluctant at first, as I normally am. Cautious fox as always. But the Fallout 76 hasn't been bad, honestly. Um, I mean, it. I was expecting a lot of ESO from it, or Elder Scrolls Online, and I was not getting a lot of Elder Scrolls Online from it. It does feel like it's a I don't know, a multiplayer DLC that I always wanted from Skyrim. Um, which is exactly, yeah, no, that almost brings up old wounds, because there was a mod or two mods or three mods. I think there were a couple of modders who were trying to make multiplayer for Skyrim, and they got cease and desisted, I believe, if I recall my history, my Bethesda history correctly. But yeah, they got cease and desisted. So they were not allowed to make those multiplayer DLCs, and they got removed from the Nexus. And it's kind of sad, honestly, because I always wanted to play like multiplayer Skyrim, but now we have 76, which almost feels like Fallout 4 has been modded with multiplayer. Maybe that's why they cease and desisted the Skyrim people, because it was too similar to the Project 76 that they had going on. I don't know how far back they were planning it. They probably were planning it way far back. Way far back. They were probably planning it. So that does make sense. Though it is a shame. I would have loved to see a multiplayer Skyrim DLC feel kind of thing. I know the release was really rough for some time, but as a newcomer, it seems to have cleaned up really well. And I haven't had too much problems with it, I guess, per se. There are some bugs, but the bugs aren't the worst so far. Most of them can be fixed pretty easily with like just a relog. Though there have been a few times when I'm like, I really wish I had my console commands right now. It would be so nice to have my console commands, but I realize in a multiplayer environment, having console access is probably a bad idea. You know, someone toggling no clip and then, you know, just flying through everything, killing you through walls and things like that. Yeah, no, I can see that being a horrendous thing, but the console is so helpful for debugging. And when you have a Bethesda game, I'm sorry, but you need debugging. Which is why I've admired them actually giving you console access for the longest time anyway. A lot of games just don't even make it easy for you to access the console, or even give you a console. I think that actually might be a Bethesda thing. I'm not sure on that, but I think you gotta actually code in the console, or maybe it's part of the engine. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that works. I'm very intimate with it, but I don't know what it is. I know how to use a lot of console commands, but what is a console? Is that something they had to program in? Is that something with the engine? Is that something that every game can do? No, I doubt every game can do it. That does feel like something they programmed in, but also to help with debugging. You know what I'm saying. You get it, audience. You get it. Anyway. ESO was kind of disappointing in my opinion, because maybe it's because I was playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14 at the time. I thought Final Fantasy 14 was just a way better MMO in general, and ESO felt way more like an MMO than anything else. In 76 at least, you feel like you're actually kind of playing Fallout 4, which I don't know if that's normally a good thing in your sequels, but in this case I think it works because of the multiplayer. ESO was really hard to play multiplayer, actually. And I remember playing it, and I was just like, man, I guess it's an alright single player experience, but it felt like an MMO, and I'm like, why would I want a single player experience to feel like an MMO? Like, if it's gonna have MMO feel, it should have MMO goodness, if that makes sense. Like the parts you like about an MMO, like a whole bunch of people doing stuff at once, or like raids, and I guess there are. I haven't played ESO too much, so I can't exactly judge it heavily. I've mostly just progressed some quest lines and talked to some people. I do like how it's voice acted. I do like voice acted MMOs. I think that's going above and beyond. Which again, if you can voice act an entire game, I don't know why having voices for one main character is harder, but again, I don't know. No, I don't know. Because half the time it's the same voice actors anyway, between, you know, Altmer or High Elves or something. Anyway, I'm jumping games a lot. 76 has been pretty good. I'm not too far into it. I'm just building my first suit of power armor, and that's been kind of fun. It's a bit of a mix of T51 and T45. So it's a bit of a mashup, but it is still looking pretty fly, despite almost every piece of armor on it looking like it has a different paint job, but that almost appeals to the aesthetic of it being, you know, what do you call it? A hodgepodge? A hodgepodge? No. Maybe. A hodgepodge. A hodgepodge of metal. I do hope that as we progress the Brotherhood of Steel line, it'll give us some T60 armor. Though I did find some T60 armor, I just have to be level 40 apparently to wear it. So maybe I just gotta wait for that sweet T60 armor. I do hope I get a Brotherhood paint job. I'm not sure where to get that. I'm sure Google has answers. But I'm not gonna Google that right now. I'm recording a podcast, what the heck? Jamie, pull up that. Oh, right. I don't have a Jamie. One day, that would be cool. Can you imagine TheReycast having a Jamie, and I could just be like, hey, could you pull up this video? And then boom, it's there. That'd be amazing. That would be the next level. No, that would actually be 2 or 3 levels up from this current stage of TheReycast. The first step up I want to do is have a cam and a set. I think that would be cool, but the set is the biggest downside to that. Gotta set up the set first. Anyway, rabbit trailing. The only quest I have been interested in so far has been the Brotherhood of Steel quest line. I do like how it started, where, you know, they're just at a base, and then, you know, you can just, I guess, walk up and ask for recruitment in this case. Because, you know, in Fallout 4 it was a bit more specific, and I like how they did it there too, because you got the recommendation from Paladin Danse, because you help him when they're all alone and they need the help. Whereas in this one, you just kind of walk up to them. And, but it still makes sense, because they're just, like, in a base there. And it seems like a pretty permanent base, like they've been there a while. But I'm not sure on the timeline there quite yet. I do think they've been there for a while, though. They look pretty dug in, they look pretty set up, but you go in, and I do like how they did it. They kind of put you on some busy work, interviewing people. Then you even help out a scribe, work on a machine and do some scribe work, which I think is a great first in, you know, help the scribes, because the scribes are, you know, they're the eggheads most of the time. There are some badass scribes, don't get me wrong, but they're normally the ones that the knights gotta protect while they do their sciencey thing. They're scrapping and sciencing and all that nonsense. The main story so far has failed to grab me. Though I do think the fire breather, firefighter thing is cool. I don't really like how they kind of make you to become one, or they kind of force you to join. And the trials aren't that fun, to be honest. I mean, I think the test was a little neat, because it wasn't too hard, but it also kind of made you think. You could pass it if you knew all the actual stuff too, but I did not. I think we were both 2 off or something like that. So we had to go back and look for more details, and go back to school, so we could become a firefighter. I mean, fire breather. Though I do think it's annoying that it's necessary for us to become one in the main storyline. Like Bethesda does this a lot, where they force you to join a faction or group, and I always feel like it hurts your autonomy in an open world sandbox RPG. It's you're supposed to be doing whatever you want, wherever you want, being whoever you want. Like, you could be a mage, you could be a warrior, you could be a thief, you could be an assassin, you could be a power armor guy, you could be Brotherhood of Steel, you could be, anything. However, Bethesda forces you, because they write this way, force you to join a group, and then you kind of like help out that group, which isn't bad all the time, if it makes sense. Like, I think Fallout 3 made a lot of sense, because you're just a bunch of people trying to get pure water for the wasteland, which is, a pretty lofty, nice goal, and everyone kind of like, converges to try and help that happen, or not have that happen, etc. But yeah, it's always like, you gotta join the Blades or something, like, or I guess you don't have to join the Blades in Skyrim. In Oblivion, you had to join the Blades, which I wasn't a huge fan of on certain characters, but it's fine. Except it's not. Except it is. Except it's not. I'm going back and forth a lot. But that's why I have almost high hopes for whoever was doing the writing. I don't know how much of it was Bethesda and how much of it was Amazon, like who was mainly in charge of the Fallout show. But they wrote it pretty well, actually. They kind of write it the way that I would like a Bethesda game to be written, where they kind of have multiple factions represented at the same time. Like, maybe if we were able to choose our faction at the start of the game and then enjoy their personal quest lines as our own main quest line, and then somehow have those quest lines, converge at some point later on. But yeah, I will avoid spoilers. But the Fallout show, has multiple protagonists, which I find really cool. It lets you almost like choose who you want to root for, and it creates a nice tension between the characters. I hope it continues on to the next season, because that's probably the thing that's getting me the most, is just seeing all the different characters have their own actual, like, kind of intents and wants and needs, and, actual good character writing happening for once. Because character writing has been like down in the pooper for quite a while in modern media, I feel like. It's unfortunate, to say the least. Very unfortunate, to say the least. So, if you haven't checked out the Fallout show, I do highly recommend it. I'm not being paid to say this. I highly doubt they would want to pay me to say this. But just in case there was doubt, I am not. I just want people to see that finally, after all this time, someone made a decent video game show adaptation. I thought it was fun. I'm sure after a second or third viewing, I'd be able to pick it apart. But it's definitely worth a watch, in my opinion. I think I think they did a really good job with it. Both the set designs were really good, costuming was really good, the writing was really good. The power armor looked, there were times the power armor looked like a little dinky. I'm not sure why. It might have been the material that they were using. And they had multiple. I think the ones that they had like set up on the chains or whatever were like actually steel, possibly. I could be wrong. But it would be really neat if they were actually steel, but I think the ones that they were wearing were something lighter. Because sometimes I would see the metal move, I feel like, in a weird way. But I don't know. It's the power armor did look really good. All in all, I think there were just a few moments that were like, that looks a little odd. Like around the hands too. Like the hands felt weird. Probably because it's probably hard because in the game it doesn't make any sense how you control your hands. Because when you get into the power armor suit, there's literally just like a handle for the hand. Like you just grab onto a bar. And there's no like buttons for the fingers to articulate the fingers, and then like when you grab onto that bar and make a fist around that bar, your hand is like, this is hard to show, like describe. I'm doing it with my hands in real life right now, but several inches above your fist is where your actual like power armor fist is. So it's like, how do you move your fingers in these things? I think that's why they looked really weird in the show. They kind of had like a set position, and there was no real easy way to articulate them without, you know, either making a glove, which then you would kind of like see the fingers and you wouldn't see the mechanicalness of the fingers. So, you know, I still give props to the costuming department for that. That they still looked wonderful. They still looked really good. But yeah, I think, yep, I'm at the end of my notes. What's our time? 52 minutes. Hey, that almost worked out perfectly. That almost worked out perfectly. We got like 8 more minutes, 7 more minutes to vibe, depending on how much I've cut from this. Probably not a lot. The podcasts I don't cut pretty much at all. Only time I do cuts is when there's like a significant time, a gap. So there's not a gap of silence for you guys. And you're like, is my thing working? No, I like to cut those out if there are any major gaps of me like googling something or something like that. So, but otherwise, if I'm just fumbling over my words, I typically don't make any retakes or edit those out. So you're welcome. You're welcome ahead of time. I am excited to go forward with 76 with Liz. I think we've been having some fun with it. I need to probably farm some more power cores. Although I feel like I have a lot, I'm always worried I'm gonna run out at the worst time. It's always the concern of a power armor user. And now we just got also Gatling lasers. Hey, I got a Gatling laser, and it is pretty strong, and that also eats fusion cores like crazy, so maybe I won't use it all the time, but it's it is a high-powered laser weapon that I do enjoy using. So I might use that as well. So I need more fusion cores. Maybe I'll just do that. If I do play solo. Anyway. Just farm a whole bunch of fusion cores is what I'm thinking. That's all I'm thinking. I know Liz is listening. She's staring daggers at me now. She's like, "You're playing without me?" And I'm like, "No. No, I'm not." I'm not. We have been playing together. I haven't been playing without her. And I think that makes it the fun part, the multiplayer aspect. Because, like I said, I probably wouldn't have played 76 without, like, having someone else to play it with. I probably would have just ignored it and let it drift off into obscurity in my mind after a while. And I would have forgotten about it. Though I'm interested in some of the public. I will say, I'm interested in some of the public stuff. Like trying to hold down a fort or a workshop area, I guess they're called, against other players is probably incredibly intense. Probably not fun at my level though, because I'll probably get curb stomped by someone with very high gear. But I am interested in some of the more public stuff. I don't know how it works exactly, but I also see some like public events going on where maybe like a bunch of different survivors come together and they like almost like a fate in Final Fantasy XIV. That would be interesting if that's how that works. I do like how quests just like give you stuff now. There doesn't necessarily have to be a person. There are a lot of people that give you like your quest rewards. More of the story-based quests, I'd say, but there are a lot of quests that you can just like do and like get rewarded with a bunch of nice loot and ammo and money and caps and stuff like that. So it does feel like Fallout 4, but it does feel like its own thing at the same time. The camp is a lot of fun. I think the idea of the camp is nice. I don't like to pack up everything and then rebuild everything. I think that's a little lame. Though I do hear there's blueprints that I have failed to figure out yet. So maybe that's on me. Maybe that's user error. I should save a blueprint of a setup that I like and then just paste that. That's probably what you do, is you just, you know, go to your blueprints and then paste your saved blueprints. And that would probably make it a lot easier, so I don't have to build it every time. But, you know, that's big brain stuff. That's for big brain people. I leave my big brain at the door, you know. I you know, when I walk in, I don't bring my big brain in with me, you know. I don't want to make people jealous, so I leave my brain at the door. So currently, I am no brain. Zero brain. Anyway. I'm running out of things to say. Which is a great time to end the podcast. We're at 58 minutes, and I think that's a great time to call it in the recording, at least. I don't know what it's going to be in the end, but yeah. Thank you all for listening to the TheReycast this fine evening or night or morning or whenever you are in fact listening to the TheReycast. Do you like Fallout? Let me know in the comments. I think Fallout is a great Oblivion with guns, Skyrim with guns. And it's kind of come into its own for me. I enjoy it. I enjoy it all the same, almost equally as much as I enjoy Elder Scrolls. Whereas for a long time, it was just Elder Scrolls dominant, and Fallout was kind of just like definitely sidebarred for a lot of my life. But if you like Fallout, let me know what your favorite part about Fallout is, and I will catch you guys next time I see you. Hopefully the next time I upload a podcast, which is probably next Wednesday. That should be still the schedule. Anyway, we'll put up probably the updated schedule here after I stop talking. Which I'm only talking because there's only a few more seconds that I should record in order to make a perfect hour of the recording. So I'm gonna actually keep on talking. So you thought it was the end, but it's not the end. It never ends. We are here until the end of time, floating, drifting into the abyss, for which it stares back at you.